Welcome to another weekly YouTube Live where I do live American accent coaching for Brazilians who already speak English well and want to get closer to an American accent, specifically a so-called general American accent or an accent like mine. So I've got some audios that people have submitted reading these 3 phrases. Had 4 people submit before we started the live today, which is great. So I've got those saved. I've got the first one pulled up, 3 separate audios, but all from the same person here, one for each phrase. So we'll dive in and I'll start pointing out some of the differences, to go from a more Brazilian accent to a more American accent, and we'll see where we get. And depending on time, I may invite some people on live on Zoom, but either way, we'll have at least the analysis piece. And if we have time, we might bring someone on here on Zoom for some coaching too. Okay, so let's dive in.
During due diligence, the COE team challenged.
COE, probably just didn't know the word. I think people say it QOE, which is short for quality of earnings. So we can kind of just skip that since you weren't sure, I think.
Diligence, the COE team.
COE. Yeah.
Diligence.
And I guess I'm not 100% sure people say that, but I think people say QOE, if I'm not mistaken.
COE team challenged several EBITDA at backs.
EBITDA, again, you probably just don't know the word, and that's
challenged
fine.
Several EBITDA at backs related to
Add backs, I would stress add instead of backs, add backs. I know this is tricky because I picked some specific vocab from the finance world, from product management, and from cybersecurity to try to get some more kind of realistic, specific phrases here. And so some of you may not know some of these words, and that's okay. But we'll see where we get despite that.
Challenged several.
Because we can still find some good other stuff, even if you didn't know certain words.
Challenged several EBITDA at backs related to temporary labor, inventory.
Inventory, I would stress inventory, the stress on the in, not on the ven. So instead of inventory.
Temporary labor, inventory, write-offs.
And similar to add backs, write-offs, I would stress the right instead of the offs. So often when we have kind of two nouns clumped together. It can vary though, but we often stress the first one instead of the second. And I think Brazilians, based on the order of the noun and adjective being the opposite in Portuguese and English, I think there's a tendency for Brazilians to often stress the second of a pair of words, whereas in English, for Americans, it's often the first part of the word. Not just Americans, but obviously that's our focus here.
Inventory.
So yeah, add backs and write-offs.
Inventory, write-offs, and anticipated efficiency.
You might add a bit of a fé, and I would do more of a fé. So even though you see the letter I here, think of it as é fechado do português e não como I do português. So kind of like você é efficiency, something like that.
Write-offs and anticipated efficiency improvements from.
And I think efficiency improvements, maybe there's a syllable deleted in here. Let's double check that.
And anticipated efficiency improvements from.
Oh, let me get that. Make sure my chat's going here. Okay, cool.
Write-offs and anticipated efficiency improvements from. Write-offs and anticipated efficiency improvements.
Sounded almost like you said efficiency improvements. Like I didn't hear the M here. So there'd be a E sound and then a E sound here. EM improvements, efficiency improvements.
And anticipated efficiency improvements from recently installed.
You deleted the word from a recently.
Anticipated efficiency improvements from recently installed product.
In versus in the word installed. So aim for in again. So often we see the letter I in English, not always, but often. A lot of Brazilians will do it como se fosse I do português, but it's usually going to be mais como se fosse é fechado do português. So installed, inventory. What was the other one? Efficiency.
Recently installed production line.
But yeah, pretty good overall. So there's a couple of pieces of feedback. Hopefully that's helpful. Let me know in the chat, by the way, if this is helpful for you. What are you noticing? Are there any surprises here? Do you disagree or kind of have questions about anything that I'm saying or showing so far? Let me know, because we can all explore this together. I'm not the, owner of truth for this kind of stuff. we can all be accent detectives together and explore what do we think is going on here. Okay, next audio.
During due diligence,
Oops. Okay.
after reviewing onboarding analytics,
Onboarding, I would say onboarding. So I put the stress on the on instead of the board. Onboarding.
after reviewing onboarding analytics, the product manager,
And reviewing came out in not a super clear way. Let's see.
after reviewing
Reviewing.
onboarding analytics, the product manager discovered that
D versus D and discovered. So again, the E versus Z thing. D, discovered.
the calendar and email permissions step accounted
Permi versus permissions. And then between permissions and step, you added an extra vowel. You kind of did permissions is step. Whereas I would connect these S's together. Permissions step.
calendar and
Or maybe do permissions step with like a slight pause, but I would not do a vowel.
that the calendar and email permissions step accounted for the largest drop.
For de, you kind of did a D here instead of a TH. So instead of for de, I would do for the, or for the. And you might also notice that in addition to changing the to a the, I'm also potentially changing this vowel sound. I think you did more of a and I would do more of a for the.
Email permissions step accounted for.
In the comments, Lada asked, mail is also too long, right? Let's double check that.
Manager discovered that the calendar and email permissions.
Let me mute my WhatsApp in case you guys hear that. Got another audio come in, which is awesome. But yeah, let me mute that tab so it doesn't keep making that notification noise. Okay, so let's double check email. Let's see where we're at.
The product manager discovered that the calendar and email permissions step account. Email permissions.
I don't know if it's necessarily too long, like the duration of it, but let's see.
Discovered that the calendar and email permissions step.
An email permission step. I don't think it's necessarily too long, but I think there might be something else going on.
Discovered that the calendar and manager discovered that the and email permissions.
Yeah, I mean, we got the oo instead of a dark L, ol. So instead of mail, I'm hearing this person do mayo. And I would do mail, ol. So ol. For me, I pull my tongue back toward my throat. Dark L, tongue retraction, tongue root retraction, whatever you want to call it. And I keep my lips more neutral. So I'm not doing a bikini. Instead, it's kind of relaxed, neutral lips, and I'm pulling the tongue backward towards my throat. Not the tip of the tongue, but like kind of the whole tongue or the back of the tongue moving back towards my throat. Mail, mail.
Email.
Instead of email. So I think that's probably the biggest thing there.
Email permissions step accounted for the largest drop-off in the sign-up process, reducing try to pay the conversion by nearly 15%.
But yeah, again, overall, pretty good job.
Conversion by nearly 15%.
Lada said true, that's what was off. Awesome.
Conversion by.
Glad that we are getting on a similar page. Because again, I'm not like the owner of truth here. We may hear things differently. You may notice something I didn't notice. So feel free to ask questions, and we'll see where we get.
Conversion by nearly 15%.
Let's see, I think trial to paid, maybe the dark L slipped as well.
Reducing try to pay. Reducing try to pay.
Interesting.
Try.
Yeah, instead of going to a super clear like ooh or o sound, trial might become trio or something like that for a lot of Brazilians. I think it almost got deleted and became kind of a
try
almost just a try or tria.
Try to.
So in this case, I think the dark L or the entire L pretty much got deleted. So yeah, trial to paid. Try to pay the conversion by nearly 15%. Yeah, good job again. Okay, next one. So we still got some other audios coming up here, other people as well. So sometimes I'll give deeper feedback, sometimes I'll give kind of more superficial, quick feedback, fewer things, kind of randomly, but hopefully it'll be helpful, and we'll see similar patterns across different audios.
During an internal audit, the cybersecurity
D.
internal audit,
I would say the I could do the or the, so the vowel could vary. I think I'd usually do the, but the key is I don't do a D usually. I do a the instead of a D.
During an internal audit, the cybersecurity analyst
What you could think of as doing like lingua presa and literally saying the word presa with the sound of lingua presa. So you get lingua presa, the cybersecurity analyst, something like that. Voice TH.
during an internal audit, the cybersecurity and
Kind of like a Z, but where as you're doing the Z, your tongue touches your upper teeth. And not pressing really hard against the upper teeth, because that could stop the pressure and then you get a D again. But just a light pressure, a light contact, lightly touching the upper teeth.
the cybersecurity analyst discovered that
Discovered versus discovered.
the cybersecurity analyst discovered that
A lot asked, are these from students or can anyone submit? Anyone can submit. I already have 5 people who submitted today, so I don't know if I'll get through everyone. But feel free to submit if you like, and we'll see if I can get to it. So I'll put the link here in the chat, and you can click that link if you want to submit an audio for analysis. And I'll see how many I can get through. I'll probably end the live around 40 minutes from now, about 5 p.m. Central Time. And I'll just, keep going and see how many I can get through here. So feel free to submit, and I'll try to get to you if I can.
the cybersecurity analyst discovered that 3 former employees. The cybersecurity analyst discovered that 3 former
That tree. So TH here became a D, and this TH maybe became a T. Let me double check.
analysts discovered that 3 4
Yeah, instead of 3, it sounded almost like a T. Tree. But I want to hear a 3.
that 3 former
So yeah, voiced TH here and an unvoiced TH here are the targets, and both of them missed in the typical way, where this one became kind of like a D and this one became kind of like a T.
that 3 former employees still had
I think the stress can vary on employees versus employees, even for natives. So we can probably let that one go. But I usually say employees with the stress on the second syllable. Employees. But I think there's variation on that.
3 former employees still had
Is still. First thing is there's an extra vowel here between these S's before the ST at the beginning of still. Similar to, where was that? Here. Permissions is step versus permissions step. Same thing here. Employees is still versus employees still. So just connect those S's together basically. Employees still, no vowel between them.
3 former employees still had administrator access.
I do administrator with the primary stress on the min. There might be variation on that, but that's what I'd recommend. Instead of administrator with the stress on the stray syllable, I put the primary stress on the min. Administrator.
3 former employees still had administrator access to customer.
And then axis versus access. Subtle difference, but the key difference I want to point out is the sound of this second syllable vowel. So in access, I do more of a eh sound, and this person, I would say, kind of reduced it to a eh sound. But I would aim for an eh, access, not eh. So not axis, but access. And then the stress actually goes on the first syllable, access. But it's about controlling the vowel sound in that second, less stressed syllable, which is kind of tricky because our focus kind of, the emphasis goes on the first syllable, but we still have to control the vowel in the second syllable. So see if you can hear the difference. Access, axis, access, axis. Or if I do just the second syllable, ses, sis, access, axis, axis. So yeah, we want to do access.
More than 6 months after leaving, access to customer.
There we go.
Administrator access to
Access.
administrator access to customer support systems. More than
Good job in systems. You didn't do systems, you did systems. Great job.
administrator access to customer support systems. More than 6 months.
Same in 6. Great job. A lot of people do seeks, and you did 6. Great job.
Customer support systems. More than 6.
More than TH here versus D.
More than 6 months after leaving the company.
And instead of the, I'd probably do the. So the versus the, you can think about it whether there's a vowel after it or a consonant. So if it was after leaving the organization, then because it's followed by this vowel sound, the o, then I would do it E in the. So the default, I would think of it as the, a schwa sound in the. And I'd kind of think of that as the default, anytime there's a consonant after it. And then kind of the special case is when it's followed by a vowel, you can change the to a E. And these aren't, strict rules, but they're useful guidelines. You'll hear variation, but that's what I'd recommend is when it's followed by a consonant, probably do a schwa, an sound, the company, the cat, the dog, etc. But when followed by a vowel, then switch it to an E sound and the. So the organization, the apple, the elephant, the offer, etc. All right, so that was person 1. Now let's pull up the next person. This is person 2. And then I think I got... Okay, we had one extra audio, a 5th audio come in, but looks like the person who sent it deleted that audio. So yeah, no worries. Happy to help if you do want help, but if you decided not to, that's okay. Okay, so, second person.
1. During due diligence, the QOE team challenged several...
Pretty good. Up to here, potentially pretty much no notes.
1. During due diligence, the Q...
So maybe the TH here turned to a D a little bit.
During due diligence, the QOE team challenged...
The QOE team. Maybe a stress thing. So maybe QOE would be more stressed than team. The QOE team. The QOE team. The QOE team. Let me think about that. The QOE team. The QOE team. So maybe we think about how much stress the E versus the team. The E of QOE and the team. So which syllable gets most stress? I think we're going to stress this word, which its most stressed syllable is probably going to be the E. So that E, I think, is going to be... I'm explaining that a little weird. I think we're going to stress QOE more than team, typically. So the QOE team. And the main stress will be carried by the E here. So the E will be more stressed than the team. Most likely.
During due diligence, the QOE team challenged several...
And then challenged versus challenged. So you can imagine it's kind of a challenged, almost a CH and then a T sound. Challenged, challenged, challenged. Something like that. Challenged. And if it's followed by a vowel, then you can imagine it instead of a CHT, you can imagine it as a JD. Challenged a lot of, challenged a lot of, versus challenged several.
During due diligence, the QOE team challenged several EBITDA.
Instead of EBITDA, usually I hear people say EBITDA. Maybe there definitely is variation in this word. I'm not sure if some natives say at the beginning. I think I usually hear E. EBITDA, EBITDA, EBITDA. There can be some variations, but I think usually this is not but rather E.
EBITDA add-backs related to temporary labor. Add-backs related to temporary labor.
I think your E at the end of temporary became kind of a I, but you want to keep it a full kind of E sound, a closed E sound. So instead of temporary, I'm looking for re at the end. Temporary.
To temporary labor. Inventory write-offs and anticipated efficiency improvements from...
So I think improvements, you kind of did ing or ing instead of im.
See improvements from a recently...
I I would do probably, recently. And I think you're kind of like the E at the end of temporary. Aim for the full E sound and not I.
Recently,
Yeah, ris versus I would do recently.
recently installed production line.
Produ, I would do produ. Instead of production.
Recently installed production line.
But good job. Okay, next one.
After reviewing onboarding analytics,
On, I would do on. So instead of on, like arroz com feijão, on, I would do on. So ah with no lip rounding, no ooh or ooh sound before the end, just a ah, like the A in father, ah, followed by a tongue tip end, na 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 na, on. So onboarding.
after reviewing onboarding analytics, the product manager discovered that the calendar
Disco, I think you did disco, and I would do disca.
doing onboarding analytics. Product manager discovered that the calendar
Discovered. Also, you blew extra air here, almost like there's a hidden H, which can happen, but because it's after an S, it's one of those weird cases where it kind of neutralizes the air that comes out with this K sound, which happens to be, a letter C here, but we could think of it as a K sound. So really, we don't blow the extra air here. So instead of disca, I would do disca, ga. So kind of a drier K sound without all that extra air coming out. Now the word cover would normally have a lot of air coming out here between the K and the start of the voicing for that vowel. Ka. But again, the S before it is kind of a special case that neutralizes it. Similar to how if I say cool, there's extra air coming out with the K. Cool. But if I put an S before it, we get school. And then it becomes a school. Same for top, becoming stop. And we can even record it and show it if you haven't seen me do that before. That's a thing we can show in Audacity. Or you can just take my word for it that, the S before the K sound, T sound, or P sound basically neutralizes that extra air that would often come out with it otherwise. Okay.
after reviewing product manager discovered that the calendar end
So yeah, partly it's the air, and then I think you switch the vowel to kind of a O, and I would do a. So discovered.
manager discovered that the calendar and email permission
And email, I would do email. So instead of email, I would do email. So I would stress the E, and I would not do an I sound, I would do an E. So email. And then I do a dark L at the end. Mail, not mail, but mail, email.
analytics, the product manager discovered that the calendar and email permissions tab accounted for manager discovered that calendar and email permissions
Calendar and email permissions.
calendar and email permissions
Calendar and email permissions step.
calendar and email permissions tab accounted for the largest drop-off in the
TH versus D here.
permissions tab accounted for the largest drop-off in the
So you stress the off, I would stress the drop. So instead of drop off, I would do drop off.
for the
So similar to add backs and write offs, drop off. Stress the first one, not the second one.
accounted for the largest drop-off in the sign-up process accounted for the largest drop-off in the
I think you kind of did drop, and I would do drop. So instead of I would do ah, a more open sound like the ah in father. Drop.
accounted for the largest drop-off in the sign-up process
Inda, again the TH versus D here.
accounted for the largest drop-off in the sign-up process
And you did process, which might be how they say it in Canada in certain places, but if you're trying to do it in a more quote-unquote American way, I'd recommend a ah vowel sound here, process. So yeah, there are some words that can go either way depending on, Canada versus US, and that's one of them.
accounted for the largest drop-off in the sign-up process
So accounted for the largest drop-off in the sign-up process. And I'll double check, but you might have stressed process more than sign-up, and I would probably stress sign-up more than process. So instead of in the sign-up process, I might do in the sign-up process.
that 3 former employee
Let's see. Oops, I just skipped ahead. Okay.
to paid conversion
How did I skip so far ahead? Interesting. Okay.
Off in the sign-up process, reducing trial to paid conversion and nearly 15%.
Yeah, pretty good overall. Okay, next one.
During an internal audit,
Baron. Hey, how's it going?
during an internal audit, an internal audit, the cybersecurity analyst
Security. I didn't hear the E at the end. So that dropped syllable is probably the most important thing. Make sure you can hear the E at the end. So not secure it, but security. Don't delete that E at the end. But there's some other things to adjust to. Let's see.
the cybersecurity analyst,
So you did this R like a R in Portuguese, like in the word para, but we want to do a kind of a caipira, like porta, cure. So like porta, not like para. So instead of cure. But then we do the kind of para R here for the T here. So the flap T is like the R in para. So eri, security. Stress on the cure. And notice also there's a kind of a hidden Y here. Secure, cure, which I think you did, but for anyone else watching, make sure you bring your attention to that so you don't miss that kind of hidden Y sound.
The cybersecurity analyst discovered that 3 former employees.
Good.
The 3 former employees still had.
Yeah, good correction on employees.
Still had administration.
Still, I think you kind of did an E and then a U instead of a E and then an ol. So E versus E and dark L ol versus U. So still instead of steel.
Employees still had administrator access to customer.
Administrator access. I think you stressed the stray syllable, and I would stress the min. Administrator.
To customer support systems. Still had administrator access to customer support.
Access versus access, same as the last audio. The last person, same feedback.
Customer support systems. More customer support systems. More than
support. Trying to think whether I add air, whether the P is aspirated or not there. Pour versus bore. Support. That's an interesting case. Maybe the S before it still is what kind of neutralizes that air. Because I think I don't blow out air on that P. I think I do support. Yeah.
Administrator access to customer support systems more than 6 months after leaving the company.
Yeah, overall good though. All right. Next person, and let me check the comments here too while I'm pulling that next one up. So person 3 is up next. And okay, so some of the comments here. Sarah said, hi, I'll rewatch the beginning of the live later. I don't want to miss anything. Amazing. Feel free to, just watch from where you are now and catch the replay later if you want for whatever you missed. Erickson Hiki said, love your content, man. I wish I could afford the coaching sessions. Haha. Are you planning to launch a crash course with some tips for us? So if you check the description of this YouTube live, so below the video, there should be a link to some free resources that I put together. It's a web app that you can access on your computer. It kind of works on your phone, but not all of it. So I recommend doing it on your computer mainly. But you can try it on your phone as well. But some of the stuff is disabled or hidden if you're on your phone. And but there's some resources there. It's actually a little web app, so it's not just a web page. You can actually click around, and there's some interactive stuff you can do. I guess let me just open that real quick. I often will show this at some point, so now seems like a good time to do that. So you'll probably end up on this page if you click the link below the live, either this page or this page. I forget which. But yeah, so we're here in live accent coaching. You can also go here to search for different reels I've made with different pronunciation issues over time. So for instance, if you're struggling with the word world, I've covered this in a number of different reels. Each of these is a different reel. You can open it and check and learn that, or as versus that, or these kind of classic things I've covered a lot. So I made this resource to help you search some of my existing Instagram content. So you don't have to wait for the next live or necessarily be a paid client to get some help from me. And of course, there's, you know, the whole internet out there with lots of good resources and stuff too. You got to take it with a grain of salt, but that's where I put some of that stuff in the external resources as well. So there's an ebook here with some vowel practice words and phrases. There's a website here with some consonant practice words and phrases. Obviously, ChatGPT can help you make a lot of practice phrases, and I added a simple little prompt here to get you started. Youglish is amazing, as well as Forvo is pretty good for hearing how native speakers actually say things. Playphrase and Yarn are same thing, but for like movies, TV shows, whereas Youglish is YouTube search and Forvo is native speakers who've submitted audios directly to the website of how they pronounce things. YouTube is obviously, you know, YouTube, but you can use it sort of more intelligently and deliberately for accent practice. So, you know, for instance, just learning the keyboard shortcuts to change speed and jump backward and forward is really useful. I do that a lot, where I'll slow it down to 0.25x speed. So that's shift and then the less than or greater than sign on my keyboard. And then I'll hit the left and right arrow keys to jump forward and backward, and space to play and pause. And then I'll adjust the speed, you know, to hear the same segment at faster and slower speeds. AB Loop Player, you can take any YouTube video and copy paste the link into here, and then you can do AB looping. So instead of having to hear the same 5 or 10 seconds over and over with the jumping, you know, the built-in jump back and forth in YouTube, you can set up whatever length or lengths of time you want. It could be a 1.3 second loop on a YouTube video. So whether you're practicing a musical instrument, like learning a guitar thing, or practicing accent, which is very similar to practicing a musical instrument, you can just loop the same difficult section over and over, do it at a slow speed, and then gradually speed it up and practice it and work on mastering it. Audacity is what I'm using here. That's the software up above. It's free. You can download it. It's not designed for accent stuff. It's just general audio editing software, but I use it for accent stuff. Prot is accent analysis specific stuff. It's fancier, probably more powerful than what you need. Audacity, also, you don't need to use it. You can just listen and imitate, and if you pay close enough attention, that could be enough. But if you want to kind of have these superpowers for analysis when it comes to audio and accent, then Audacity is a great step. And if you really want to go deep, you can try stuff like Prot. And then Bold Voice is a pretty cool AI-based accent feedback and training app. It's obviously, you know, not the same as human feedback. It can make mistakes as humans can, but it's, for instance, their percentage assessment of like how native you sound, I would take that with a grain of salt. I don't get 100% as a native, but it's still useful and probably directionally correct to get you moving in the right direction. So yeah, of the different apps I've tried, that's my favorite one. So, and there's like a vowel synthesizer. Sounds kind of funny if you're not used to it. You can check out Vowels, description of lexical sets, which is a fancy like vowel naming system that I like to use, and some linguists and accent coaches use it. There are, it takes a minute to load the video, but then there's some accent exercises. And again, this is all for free. You just click the link below this video, or the highlight on my Instagram profile, and you can explore this, you know, free version of my web app. I have a kind of slightly more powerful version that I use in my actual paid clients, but I tried to make something that's hopefully useful for you guys, even, you know, if you're not a client. You can check some pre-made practice phrases for any vowel sound you want of some of the, you know, main vowel sounds in English, which each are represented by kind of a keyword, and consonants as well. So you can generate some practice phrases on ChatGPT with some of the most frequent words for that sound. You can see some contrast to be aware of that Brazilians often mess up, like to versus chew. You can open some pre-made practice phrases and open, there's a ton of reels on this one, kind of mixed together. I'm always working to improve this over time. Some of them have fewer reels, but the idea is I try to link to at least a reel, sometimes multiple reels that are relevant to that issue, to that target word or the contrast that Brazilians often mess up. And then, of course, when you're ready, there are paid options, whether that's just, you know, a single accent analysis plus one-on-one call, you know, a private personal one-on-one accent analysis and one-on-one call to go over it, or deeper, you know, ongoing coaching where every week we hop on Zoom, and between that we have WhatsApp. And yeah, doesn't make sense for everyone financially, but you can check those out. There's also the direct link to the coaching offer below this video as well. So if it makes sense, I'd love to have you as a client. Check it out. But otherwise, here to help for free as much as I can as well. Okay, so we got person 3 on deck here. going to check in on the comments again here. But yeah, Edison and Hiki, I brought that up in response to your comment about, wishing you could afford the coaching sessions. Tudo seu tempo. If at some point you can afford it without putting yourself in a bad spot, I'd love to help you. But yeah, don't stretch yourself too far. And you can do lots of good stuff for free as well. Ubion Teja said, very nice. Thanks for analyzing my audio. Happy to help. Tamo junto. Sarah said, I would love to watch some content analyzing accents from native speakers, such as the Texan accent. Yeah, that'd be cool. One thing I don't have in the app, but you can check out, is if you just go to YouTube and search American Accent Tour. It's not exactly what you said, but it's going to scratch the itch to some extent, because there's some well-produced videos, these 3 videos, where they go, each one's like, 10 minutes plus, and they go through a ton of different accents in the US, and they show the differences, some of the key vowel or consonant sounds. They have not just this one guy who's a great accent coach, but multiple different accent coaches who are trying to demonstrate the accent as they talk about it. So there's a lot of cool examples of different accents, and you can start to explore some of the differences in accents around the US that way. And then you can do deeper dives with, like, you can literally just search, Southern accent or whatever. Accent tag is an old thing where people would just kind of demonstrate what their accent is. Like, this guy is probably from Boston. And so you could go listen to, we could say like accent tag Atlanta, and then you can explore some accents from Atlanta. And there's some other resources, but anyways, just to give you guys some pointers of places you can start to look. Erickson said, same here. Understanding their accent would be amazing as well. One thing I can already give you a heads up on is these lexical sets here are powerful. So these are kind of code words. You can think of them almost like a variable. So instead of just the IPA itself, which kind of tells you what sound it is, these don't 100% tell you what sound it is. You have to also know which accent it is we're talking about. So the same vowel sound, if we pick like price, which is, for me in my accent, I say kind of an I sound, 2 sounds together technically, that can vary. So if we hear someone from the south of the US, they might do maybe ah, and it could vary, right? There's many different accents across the south, but instead of I, like why, hi, try, they might say ah, why, hi, try, and that kind of stuff. And then if you have someone from Australia, their price, instead of I or might be something kind of like oi. So you might hear like woi, hoi, try, something like that. So these are a way to start exploring accents if you're interested in going beyond an American accent, or at least using other accents to understand the boundaries of an American accent. What is it that makes it American versus Australian versus, general American versus Southern American and that kind of stuff? Then this is one way to start exploring that, is for each kind of core vowel sound, you want to imagine almost like an audio file for each of those. And that's something I want to add here, is literally, hit play and hear it. I have something a little more like that in the client version, but I should add something like that here in the free version. But then you can kind of imagine, if you want to switch accents, you kind of just switch your vowel sounds to play a new audio file and all the words where that vowel sound shows up, regardless of spelling. Because like for this, the price vowel sound can be spelled with a Y or an I or a IE or a IGH or a UY, So it's really about the sounds, not just the letters. Hopefully that helps. I'm trying to give you guys some pointers. Okay, let's go to person 3. And man, time's getting away. Time flies. Maybe I'll go a little past 5. We'll see. We'll see how it goes here.
During due diligence,
Good job on diligence.
the KOE
Let's see.
the KOE
I think you did the
the
instead of a the. So TH versus D.
the KOE team challenged several EBI at
Yeah, you just didn't know that word, so no worries.
TDA at backs.
Add backs, I would stress add instead of backs. Add backs. So again, there will be a trend here. Add backs, write-offs, drop off, there's going to be a lot of words in English that follow that kind of pattern. Not, I shouldn't say just words, but, kind of multi-word chunks. So like a 2-word pair where the first word is stressed instead of the second word being stressed.
EBITDA at backs related to temporary labor.
I think you did this R, like the R in para, but it should be more like hi capire de porta. So temporary, both of these R's actually. So not temporary, but temporary.
Several EBITDA at backs related to temporary labor. Temporary labor.
Okay, so it's the second R that you switch to the R in para. So temporary, but I would do temporary, rary. Might feel weird if you're not used to that, but it just takes practice. Temporary.
Related to temporary labor. Inventory write-off.
Inventory. Oh, maybe that's fine actually.
Related to temporary labor. Inventory write-offs.
Yeah, close enough. Write-offs, stress the right, not the offs.
Inventory write-offs and anticipated efficiency improvements from
Good job on anticipated efficiency improvements. Maybe I didn't hear the EM transition clearly. It might have ultimately kind of deleted that syllable, efficiency improvements. Maybe natives would do that sometimes too. I guess we could question that, but
inventory write-offs and anticipated efficiency improvements from a recently installed production line.
But yeah, overall good.
After reviewing onboarding and
Review, let me see, something's in reviewing, I think.
After reviewing onboarding
What is it?
After reviewing onboarding After reviewing onboard After reviewing on After reviewing 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 reviewing
I mean, part of it's reviewing versus reviewing. So ng here, like ng manga, mung, instead of kind of a normal n, like in. We want to ing, like manga, ing, reviewing. But maybe there's something else.
Reviewing.
I don't know. Maybe that's the main thing. We'll keep going.
After reviewing onboarding analytics.
Onboarding, stress the on, not the board.
Onboarding analytics, the product manager discovered that
Discovered versus discovered. Do not o. Discovered.
The product manager discovered that the calendar and email permissions is
Permissions versus permissions. Do permis, not permis.
Calendar and email permissions is tab account.
So don't add a is before the step. Just go directly from this S to this S. Permissions step. Just connect them together as one S. Instead of sys, permissions this step. Do just, and I guess this is maybe more accurate. Don't do permissions this step. Do permission step. Permission step.
Discovered that the calendar and email permissions is tab accounted.
Yeah.
Is tab accounted for the
And you kind of maybe did like step, something like that. And I would do step, step.
permissions is tab accounted for the largest drop-off in the sign-up.
Good job on drop-off. So add backs and write-offs, you stress the second part, but it should be the first. And drop-off, you got it though. You stress drop more than off. So good job.
Is tab accounted for the largest drop-off in the sign-up process.
And sign-up process. So process is like access, where a lot of Brazilians, instead of a in the second syllable, end up doing a I. So instead of process, I would do process. Ses versus sis. Aim for ses. Process. And then I would stress sign up more than process in the sign up process, most likely, depending on what we're trying to emphasize.
Permissions is tab accounted for the largest drop-off in the sign-up process.
Because it's sort of like we're answering the question, what kind of process? A sign-up process. That's kind of how it's implied. You can think of Portuguese versus English, which word is the base word and which word is the modifier word, and the order those happen is usually different in Portuguese versus English. Like, red car. Car is the base, red is the modifier. Carro vermelho. The order is different. And so when you have these kind of two noun things squished together like this, sign up process, you could think of it being something like that. Probably in Portuguese, it would be processo de nanana, however you say sign up, processo de cadastro, or whatever. And so processo would probably be first as the base word, but in English, we put the modifier first a lot of the time. So yeah, the stress may be different than you expect because of that. But in both cases, in Portuguese and English, we'd probably stress the modifying word. It's just in a different place than you expect. Hopefully that makes sense.
Step accounted for the largest drop-off in the sign-up process, reducing trial to paid conversion by nearly 15%. During an
Good.
internal audit, the cybersecurity analyst discovered that
I think you did analyst, and I would do analyst.
during an internal audit discovered that the cybersecurity analyst discovered that 3 former employees still had an administrative
So similar to permission step, you did a extra kind of this thing here, but instead of that, you want to just connect it employees still, instead of employees is still.
The cybersecurity analyst discovered that 3 former employees still had an administrator access to customer
Access, there's a K here, so think of it as kind of a KS, access, and not just a access. So access.
employees still had an administrator access to customer support systems more than 6 months after leaving the company.
Yeah, pretty good. You might have done an F in months.
Systems more than 6 months after.
Yeah, I think you did an F, so aim for a TH, not an F. The difference is what is touching your upper teeth. Is it your tongue or is it your lower lip? So if your lower lip touches your upper teeth, you get an F sound. Mun, with. But if you're aiming for a TH like me, it's instead of the lower lip, it's going to be the tongue that touches the upper teeth. So with, months. And months is kind of a special case where you can end up kind of just doing a TS sound, almost like pizza, months. But yeah, in general, for the TH, think of that tongue touching the upper teeth. Yeah, good job. Okay, next one. And again, feel free to put stuff here in the comments if you guys have any questions, comments, whether it's about the audios or just random stuff you want help with, about specific words or whatever it may be. Feel free to throw it in the YouTube chat and I'll try to help you if I can. All right, next person for ABCD. Cool. And let me see if I got any other audios that came in. Looks like I got one more here. So let me hide my screen for a sec so I can download that. And I'll make that be the last audio. So we'll have the audios you see on the screen plus one more person. Okay, so let me download this audio. Okay, person 5. Cool, so I'm gonna close WhatsApp. Yeah, because that is good enough. Okay, so we'll do person 4 and person 5, and then we'll wrap up. But again, feel free to leave comments, questions, etc. in the YouTube chat. And as I'm going through these last 2 audios, I'll try to keep interacting and answering questions. Okay, let me share my screen again. Okay, so here's person 4.
Hi, Will. Hey, man.
So I might have some extra commentary. I'm just going to play it live since that's part of the sort of the consent of when people send it, that it's acknowledged that the audios will probably be played live. So, but we'll hear what the person said.
Hey, man. First of all, thank you so much for your content. Everything you put out is so helpful for us Brazilians. And I already learned so much from you. So thank you so much.
Yeah, man. Happy to help.
Hi.
Okay, next one.
During due diligence, the Q. During due diligence, the Q.
During do, I think your D is a little bit against your teeth. For a lot of Brazilians it is. But instead of a do, kind of like tudo. In Portuguese, T and D sounds are probably more against the teeth than they are in my American accent. So instead of putting your tongue against your teeth as the main point of contact, think of the main point of contact instead being the kind of the bump in your gums behind your teeth. So very precise, kind of just a little bit of, pressure contact on that spot. So your tongue might also lightly end up touching your upper teeth, but the key point of actual contact where the pressure happens, instead of being the teeth, try to experiment with moving it to that bump in the gums, the alveolar ridge. So that bump in the gums you can feel up there. So then you get, instead of a do, 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 you get a slightly different sound. Do, 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 do. If you move it too far back, do, 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 you start getting kind of an Indian accent sound, a retroflex D. But yeah, experiment with where you put the tip of your tongue for that, where you put that pressure. Okay.
During due diligence.
So yeah, instead of during due diligence, I do during due diligence.
During due diligence, the QE team challenged several EBITDA add-backs related to temporary labor, inventory.
Good stress on add-backs, the add being stressed more than the backs. I think you're the only audio that got that today, if I'm not mistaken. So nice job.
Add-backs related to temporary labor, inventory.
You might have switched one of these R's to a Brazilian style R. Let's see.
Add-backs related to temporary labor.
Maybe it's a little hard to tell for sure.
Related to temporary labor. Temporary labor.
It's hard to hear for sure, but just be aware that instead of a R like para, I would usually do a R like porta, temporary for both of those R's.
Temporary labor, inventory write-offs, and add-backs related to temporary labor, inventory write-offs, and anticipated efficiency improvements from a recently installed production line.
Good job. All right, next one. So the second sentence.
After reviewing onboarding analytics.
So you kind of did on, like con, without the C or the K sound, but aim for on. So like father and tongue tip end. No, on. And then put the stress on the on, not on the board. So onboarding instead of on board, onboarding.
After reviewing onboarding analytics, the product manager discovered that the calendar and the email permission step accounted for the largest drop-off in the sign-up process, reducing trial to paid conversion by nearly 15%.
Nice, good job.
After reviewing,
and I'm going a little bit faster on this one just because we're getting towards the end of the live, but also you have less stuff that's jumping out at me as like super obvious stuff, and or it's stuff I've already commented on. But yeah, you're doing great. Okay.
During an internal audit, the cybersecurity.
So to learn how to connect these together in connected speech instead of pausing between these, try moving the L to the beginning of the next word, or imagine that it's at the beginning. So instead of internal audit, you can imagine that the L, you have an L here, and you also going to put an L here and connect it together with no pause. So audit, even though that's not a word, you can imagine it is. And then it becomes internal audit. During an internal audit, that'll help you connect that a little more naturally without as many pauses.
During an internal audit, the cybersecurity analyst discovered that the three former
You added a the here. The
cybersecurity analyst discovered that the three former employees still had administrator access to customer support systems more than 6 months after leaving the company.
You kind of did come instead of come. So think of come here instead of calm, like feeling really calm, chill, relaxed. Think of come like come here, come, company.
After leaving the company.
Company. But yeah, overall, good. Some of the stuff is stuff I've already commented on, so I'm going kind of quicker. But yeah, good job. Thanks for sending the audio. Hopefully this is helpful. A couple quick pieces of feedback for you. And okay. And the last person. And again, YouTube chat, feel free to comment, question, drop stuff in the chat. We're getting towards the end of the live, but I'm still watching the chat and here to help if I can. What is this program? So the program on the top here is Audacity. It's free. So if you Google Audacity, you don't have to use it. It's optional. But yeah, it's a free audio editing / analysis software, whatever you want to call it. And then you can, watch YouTube and read their documentation and learn how to use it. Or I've got a little training I do for how to use it for accent stuff, which you can see me doing in these calls too. And you can probably figure it out if you're somewhat tech inclined. But either way, it's not too hard to use. It's just not always worth it for, everyday accent stuff, because it takes a little bit of, what I want to say is for most of your accent training, you don't need to use Audacity. You can just listen and imitate, pay close attention to how people speak, and pay close attention to how you speak and compare those. But yeah, Audacity is like a superpower. So once in a while, it's good to, optionally, but it's a really useful tool if you use this to compare native speakers versus your own audio. You can do like I'm doing in these lives and kind of, select certain parts and sort of zoom in on it and hear not just the whole word, but you can zoom in on like the first half of a specific vowel sound in a specific word, and then compare how you did that first half of the vowel sound versus how a native speaker would do that first half of the vowel sound. And so sometimes that helps differences in accent become obvious that would otherwise be hidden. So yeah, it's a powerful tool, but not required for you to be successful. Okay, so next audio, person 5, next and final audio. So this is the last person I'm giving feedback on today. Hopefully this has been another helpful live. Do this every Wednesday. Sometimes I have people on Zoom. Sometimes I just analyze the audios, kind of go back and forth. But yeah, let's do the final audio. Here we go.
During due diligence, the QA team challenged several EBITDA add-backs related to temporary labor, inventory write-offs, and anticipated efficiency improvements from a recently installed production line.
Really good. I'll listen again, see if anything jumps out, but I might not really have any big comments on this one.
During due diligence, the QA team challenged
QOE, QOA, just double checking the clarity of that pronunciation there.
due diligence, the QA team
QOE, QOA.
diligence, the QA team QA team QA 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 QA
QOE. So one thing that might help is you might imagine Q and then a W sort of, whoa, and then another W, we, or something like this. Like when we're connecting vowel sounds together, you can imagine there's kind of a hidden W, or in some cases a hidden Y, depending on what we're connecting. But that might help this come out a little more clearly, maybe. There's variation though. Not all natives do this super clearly all the time, but just to potentially help you say this more clearly, explore with saying QOE, QOE with the main stress on the we, on the E, QOE, QOE.
the QA team QA QA
Because otherwise it kind of blends together potentially too much. It makes it a little harder to understand.
team challenged
And then team, maybe add a bit of a CH kind of sound.
team 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 team
Kind of a chi instead of a T. Chi, 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 T, 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 chi, 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 T, 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 cheem, team, cheem, team, team. So when I do it, it's more of a very like precise tongue tip only T. If you start to involve the middle of your tongue in addition to the tongue tip, you start to get this kind of sh sound mixed in with it. Ch, ch. You get kind of a CH or SH kind of thing going. Not a huge deal, but something to be aware of.
challenged several EBITDA add-backs related to temporary labor, inventory write-offs, and anticipated efficiency improvements from a recently installed production line.
Yeah, really good job. So I found a couple of things by digging deeper, but when I first listened, that stuff didn't really jump out in a huge way. So again, great job. Here in the chat, Alienígena Turista said, it's really helpful, this live mentorship. Thank you. Happy to help. Glad it's helping.
STEP accounted for the
Let's see. Okay.
After reviewing onboarding analytics, the product manager discovered that the calendar and email permissions step accounted for the largest drop-off in the sign-up process, reducing trial to paid conversion by nearly 15%.
Yeah, pretty good. We can find some little things, but again, overall, good job. But now let's try to find a couple little things.
After reviewing onboarding analytics, the product manager discovered that the calendar and email permissions
Sound almost like you did mo instead of mail, emo versus email.
product manager discovered that the calendar and email permission and email.
So instead of emo, email. Calendar and email permissions. Calendar and email.
And email permissions Step accounted for the largest drop-off in Step accounted for the largest
Good job on the RTH connection here for the good job. It's hard for a lot of people.
Step accounted for the largest drop-off in the sign-up process.
Same for the NTH connection here. Also hard for a lot of people. You did it well.
Step accounted for the largest drop-off in the sign-up process, reducing trying.
Process. I think you did a I instead of a here. So maybe try to play with that. Process. Aim for a. Process.
Accounted for the largest drop-off in the sign-up process, reducing trying.
But maybe you got it. I don't know. Let me double check that.
Off in the sign-up process. Process.
Yeah, I think it floated towards se instead of a se.
Process, reducing trying to.
Yeah, not if we're doing like a stoplight, like red, yellow, green, where green sounds like a native or like me or whatever. Red is a thick Brazilian accent and yellow is a light Brazilian accent. Maybe that's red, or sorry, it's not red. Maybe it's green or yellow, somewhere in there. That'd be one way to think of that. It's not like a huge thing. It's just a thing that's maybe questionable. Maybe you got it, maybe not. It's kind of borderline. But if you missed it, it's not by much.
Process, reducing trio to paid conversion by nearly 15%.
I think you kind of did fif instead of fif. So relax that vowel more towards if shadow fi. 15.
Discovered that 3 former employees still had.
Okay.
During an internal audit, the cybersecurity analyst discovered that 3 former employees still had administrator access to customer support system.
So process and access, potentially the same thing, the second syllable. Again, might be minor, might not be a huge thing. You might be getting it or basically getting it, but just to bring this up in a conscious way, you could explore the difference of versus I in the syllable.
Administrator access to customer support.
But maybe you got it. Again, it's so close, I'm questioning it. But I'm bringing it up even if it's, I'm not 100% confident. I'm at least pointing it out as a kind of a question mark. Maybe you got it, maybe you didn't.
Administrator access to customer support systems more than 6 months after leaving the company.
So maybe your TH is slipped here in the more than and leaving the, it might have become a little bit of a D maybe.
Systems more than 6 months after leaving the company.
But it might still be within what natives would do, general American accent range. I don't know. We could debate some of that stuff. Not a huge deal.
For systems more than 6 months after leaving. Access to customer support systems.
So I think you deleted this T. I don't think I would, customer support systems. I don't think I would delete it. I think I'd change it to a glottal T. So like oh or hot or football, where we get that sudden cutoff. So it's like ha versus hot. One has a sudden stop in the throat, the other doesn't have a sudden stop. Ha, hot, ha, hot. So support versus support. Support.
Access to customer support systems.
Support systems versus support systems. Support systems. Customer support systems versus customer support systems. Another tiny difference. All right, so I think that's it for today. Let me know if you guys have any closing thoughts in the chat, any comments, requests. Let me know if you guys like this format, if you wish something was different, if there's something that you think would be awesome, if you want me to do more of this. Open to feedback. I may not do what you want exactly, but I'd love to hear if you guys have thoughts. I'll take it into consideration because I want to be helpful. Well, Brenda said nice. Lada said thank you. Happy to help. Glad you guys liked it. The obligatory CTA at the end again. If you guys do want to become a paid client, zero pressure, but there's the link for that below. You can learn more. There's also, if you want to just dive deeper into free stuff, we have this weekly live, as well as my free, Instagram Reels. And there's also the free web app / free resources that I'm putting together. You can find all of that stuff in the description below this video. Sada said Sarah said, thank you so much. Not sure if you already have a video about the words literally and literature. Let's check. I'm sure I do, but what I don't know is if I have cataloged access to those easily. Like, I'm pretty sure they exist on my Instagram. I just don't know if I've added them. And we are in luck. So just go to the link below this video for the free resources, and then just open the sidebar in the app, go to more SAA resources, and then go to open search. Or you can literally do simpleamericanaccent.com/find, and it should redirect you here. But either way, get to this page and then search whatever you're curious about, and you'll see what there is. And in this case, yeah, literally and literature, there's a reel for both of them. Just make sure they open. I've tested this stuff in the past, but yeah, both of them open. So this one's a newer reel. This one's probably an older one. Well, no, they're both in Chicago. So both are within the last couple of years. So both probably helpful. So I'd start there. And if you have more questions, more issues, let me know. But hopefully this will get you moving in the right direction. All right. Anything else? I guess the other thing is, yeah, if you click the link to become a client, I'll just show you the process so you're aware. You just, read a little description of the basic idea of what it is, what it includes, pricing, guarantee, all that good stuff. And then there's an application, which is super simple. There's no write an essay, crazy, deep thing. Should take a couple minutes, and that's it, because it's basically just multiple choice. Just make sure that you are the right fit in terms of, are you Brazilian? Do you already speak English, pretty well? Do you have frequent contact with Americans? Because if you're just in Brazil and you never talk to Americans at all, maybe it could work, but it's going to be harder for you to put into practice the things we work on. It's much easier if you are already embedded in, with friends and or professionally with American coworkers, using English with Americans frequently, spoken English, actually speaking with Americans frequently, then we can get a lot more value out of everything we do together. But yeah, making sure you're Brazilian, already speak English well, and I guess I can go ahead and click through some of these. And then there's a little 5-minute video if you want to see a little more about how one-on-one coaching works. There's some testimonials. But yeah, assuming everything's like a yes, then it makes sense. Please answer honestly, because if it's not a good fit, it'll send you to, a different page with potentially a downsell, a simpler option to get started with just a single call, and or redirect you to free resources. Because I'm just trying to make sure it's a good fit for both of us. Anyways, go through that. It's pretty quick. We're almost at the end here. I think this is the last question before contact information. But basically, as long as it seems like it's a good fit, you can literally just buy instantly and join, and we can get started like now. Like tonight, we can have you in the program and getting started. And if you have questions, as long as it seems like a good fit, it'll give you a link to my WhatsApp, where you can send me whatever questions you have, because I want to make sure that it actually is going to be good for both of us. So I've been doing this enough. If you go through and the application looks good, it'll just, auto approve you basically. And you can, again, if you don't have questions, you can just pay and join immediately. But if you do have questions, I'm happy to make sure that everything's clear before we get going. Hopefully that makes sense. And yeah, I guess I'll wrap up for tonight. Thanks for joining. I'll see you guys next week, most likely. I'll be here. Up to you whether you're here or not. But I'll be here every Wednesday, 4 p.m. Central Time, helping you guys for free as much as I can. And rooting for you, whether you're a client or not. Tamo junto. Boa noite. And talk to you later.